Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Agostino's English episode number 971. It should be 971. If it's not 971, then I do greatly apologize. But it should be 971. How you doing? How you feeling? Thought I'd whack out a quick one before we get on to the very long random show which is happening later on tonight. If you're not listening to this live, then I'm doing the random show straight after this particular pod and live stream. For those of you who are waiting for that type of content, it should be coming at you within the next hour or so. But for now, we're going to dive into some other important cultural commentary topics for those of you that care about that kind of stuff. The first thing I wanted to quickly mention, because it's fresh of mind, I have been seeing online that there is currently a trial going on between Megan Thee Stallion and Milagro Gramz. I haven't really been paying much attention to it. It feels like most of the media and the blogs haven't really been paying much attention to it, but it's a pretty important case, I think, largely for a lot of content creators out there, because it seems like on the surface, again, I don't know much. I'm not the most educated when it comes to court cases. I haven't properly checked and run through all of the charges. But from what I can remember, when the story first broke that Megan Thee Stallion was going to sue Milagro Gramz, who's like a prominent kind of hip-hop based blogger who was also very vocal in not believing Megan Thee Stallion when it comes to the shooting that she had gone through with Tory Lanez, and kind of really being very forthright in her opinion, let's say. I decided, to just, whatever, have a gander, have a peek on what's going on, and just quickly check what the news was. And it's quite ridiculous, the whole thing, I'm not gonna lie, and it kind of shows you just how fallible we are as humans. Just because people are of an elevated status, whether they're celebrities or whatnot, or an artist, it doesn't necessarily mean they got their head screwed on right. Because from my point of view, from the way I see things, this court case seems like a massive waste of time, because if you really whittle it down, it just appears to me that Megan Thee Stallion wasn't really a fan, didn't like the things that Milagro Gramz was saying about her online, which is perfectly fine, perfectly understandable. If you watch Mob Radio, like I have done in the past, Milagro Gramz, Mob Radio live streams, she's very opinionated, right? I will describe Milagro Gramz as like a less aggressive version of like a Tasha K. She really gives it to you. She doesn't mince her words. She means what she says. She says what she means. So I'm sure if you're Megan Thee Stallion and you're going through that whole debacle with Tory Lanez and the shooting and the court case, I can understand if you have somebody super vocal like that, saying they don't believe you, calling you kinds of names, insulting you, dissing you. I think the other thing that kind of gave Milagro Gramz a bit of an edge when she came to covering Megan was that she's also from Houston, I think. She kind of knows a lot of people who are in and around Megan, and she's kind of able to provide some inside information about how she moves. So I'm sure that stuff didn't sit right. But to take somebody to court because essentially what I feel like is happening is that Megan Thee Stallion is taking this girl to court on the basis of defamation. I think that one of the charges is defamation, and I think the other one's like harassment or something, mainly because she doesn't believe that she got shot. And I just don't understand. Like, I wonder, like, part of me kind of, there's this meme going on online, right, with Normani. Have you heard Normani, the R&B singer girl who's, I think, in a relationship with some basketball player or football player now? But anyway, Normani, really talented R&B artist, hasn't necessarily been able to kind of figure it out in order to pop, really. But, whatever. Maybe she doesn't want to. But there is a meme that goes around about Normani, that her team hates her, right? Like, she's got all this talent, she's incredible at dancing, really good singer, seems to be able to write decent songs also, but for some reason hasn't necessarily made it, quote unquote. And a lot of people say her team is the reason why, because they put her in bad looks, they don't put her in good positions, I'm also starting to wonder, Megan Thee Stallion, I wonder if she's got a good team around her, because I am also one of those people, like, I don't necessarily care about her as an artist. When it comes to the Tory Lanez thing, I am definitely in the camp of not believing her account of what happened. I think there's just too many, holes in the story and inconsistencies. I think either party, Tory or Megan, they're not the most, trustworthy narrators. And in general, I just think it was just, the way they made it seem as in a court, I don't think is what happened, in real life. But it doesn't necessarily matter. Tory Lanez in prison, she's out. It is what it is. I've just really questioned the wisdom in still talking about this now, in still kind of like, because I understand this is never gonna go away for Megan or for Tory Lanez, similar to what happened between Chris Brown and Rihanna. They've both moved on, they've both forgiven each other, they're both in different parts of their lives, and people still bring that up. So it's something that probably the public at large is never going to forget and never going to let them forget. But I really do question, if you're Megan Thee Stallion and you're on her team, do you really love her if you're not strongly advising her not to go ahead with this lawsuit? Because let's say she wins anyway. Let's say she wins. Let's say she goes to court, as she's in now, the verdict comes out, Milagro Gramz, you've been bullying me, you've been harassing me, defamation, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't change what Milagro Gramz has said about her. It probably doesn't change Milagro Gramz's opinion. It doesn't change the people out there who don't think she's telling the truth and she lied about getting shot. It doesn't do anything really. It's a lose-lose, I think. Milagro Gramz has a lot to gain for it. I think if Milagro Gramz comes out of it and she's found not guilty of all charges, it's going to probably vindicate her in her opinion that Megan Thee Stallion is a liar and she's an alcoholic and all this shit. But I just really question, I just sit here and I really question whether Megan has really people in her team that really love her. Because why would you go through all this lawsuit? Like, why in 2025 heading into 2026 is she even still involved in this topic? Tory's in prison. He's probably going to be in prison for what, another 3 years, 4 years? Like, she should be living her best life, performing, making music, making new records, touring, you know, whatever else it may be, instead of just still going on about this one fucking topic. It's just, I don't understand it. I really fucking don't understand it. And I think for the larger, you know, situation as well across the board, it's a bit of a dangerous lawsuit as well, because essentially, like I said earlier, it just comes down to Megan not liking the blogger, which I get why she doesn't like her. She has a right not to, but I'm not necessarily okay with the idea of, like, you know, prominent people, celebrities, public figures taking people that report on them to fucking court because they don't like what they said about them. You know, like, that doesn't necessarily work that way. You can not like it, that's perfectly fine. You can be vocal about not liking it also. You can probably do some not so legal things to kind of silence a person, copyright strikes, DDoS attacks, whatever you want to do. But I think going as far as trying to sue somebody to try and silence them so they stop talking about you is a bit insane. I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit insane. Part of me also, I think, wonders if it's just maybe one of those things where it's just a different personality, innit? Because for me personally, I would never want to let anybody know that they've affected me that much and take them to court. I think even if I had the resources, I think myself, if I put myself in Megan Thee Stallion's feet or in Megan Thee Stallion's place, would I do the same thing? I don't think so. I don't think so. Like, because the genesis of this whole thing is the shooting, right? If I definitely think Tory Lanez shot me, and then I take this thing and it goes to court, and then the jury agrees with my version of events, and they sentence this guy to prison, and I win, quote unquote, I'm moving on in my life. You know, I'm not continuing this shit. If there's people out there that don't believe me, people out there that have been very critical, who've called me names, who've quote unquote organized some sort of hate campaign about me, hate train, harassment, whatever you want to call it, cyberbullying, I'm not going to let you know that it's affecting me by taking me to court, because that's what she's effectively done. Right? You're going to get on the stand, you're going to start crying and all that stuff, talking about your mental health and all this nonsense. It's making people aware that you have hurt me, and I would not let anybody know that they have been hurt in that way. So I just want to keep it moving. But I just think for a career, forget like the ego and the pride situation, I think for a career, it's a really bad move. And I think in general, she's probably going to look, I wonder if she's probably going to look back on this in a few years and wonder if it was an incredible waste of time. Like, obviously money wise, it's not going to be, it probably doesn't matter. She's probably incredibly rich, I'm assuming, and most likely if she wins, the blogger would have to pay her fucking court fees anyway, so it's okay. But I just wonder, in terms of having only one career, only one life, going through this whole court case to prove to the world that this blogger that didn't believe you was, it's just like, what the flip are we doing right now? What the hell is going on? But who knows? I guess maybe I'm not looking at it from all different sides. I guess we'll have to wait and see how it pans out. As per usual, it's been turned into a bit of a debacle. I've seen videos of Megan Thee Stallion going to court, you know, wearing different outfits and trying to be, you know, it's a whole, America's weird when it comes to court cases and lawsuits. It's a whole nother kind of run of content. She's appearing in all these, like, don't get me wrong, they're really great suit sets she's got on, but it's kind of turned into a bit of a debacle that way. It's about the suits, it's about the haircut. it's about the hairstyle, sorry, you know, it's about the walk up, it's about all the fucking paparazzi and security. And yeah, I guess we'll see how it plans out for her. I guess we'll see how it pans out for her. Talking about panning out for people, I'm sure some of you would love to know an update on Akaash Singh's wife. I'm sure you would. I've been speaking about Akaash Singh's wife for the last, what, few episodes, I feel like. And there's a recent video that kind of has made me look at her even more weird, even more side-eye. This side of things is a bit hard to pass through, a bit hard to kind of get your head around, because I have heard some people say that people from that part of the world, right, Pakistan, India, they generally are not the biggest fans of PDA, whether it's traditional, whether it's societal, whether it's religious. They're not the biggest PDA proponents. So you're not really going to see a lot of Pakistani or Indian people lip sync, which I don't really agree with. I think if you're born in East London or you're from the East London area, Plashet Grove, Manor Park, East Ham, Upton Park, Canning Town, Barking, Ilford, I'm sure you've seen your fair share of people from that part of the world, India and Pakistan, you know, exchanging, you know, bodily fluids, you know, sucking each other's face off. They love a bit of lip sync. I think the people I see lip sync the most out and about, you know, like really going for it, most of the time are Filipino people. Filipinos love a good fucking snog, and I think Indian and Pakistani kids or like younger people, they love a good snog. So I don't necessarily think that's true, but that's what people are saying. So this is in relation to this compilation that somebody put together that features Akaash Singh's wife going out of her way to dodge every time Akaash tries to kiss her in public, or at least Akaash tries to kiss her on camera. And it's very uncomfortable viewing for those of you that are a bit cringe and stuff. So this is your cringe warning. And it's just like it's just one of those other things to kind of like hit Akaash Singh's wife over the head with, Jaslene. And it's really inexcusable. It really is inexcusable when you watch the whole clip. So let's watch the whole clip of Jaslene going out of her way to make sure to avoid her husband kissing her on camera.
I look good, Mr. Armstrong.
One. Another occasion. Another one too. Jesus Christ. Okay.
On Saturday when I saw her, I said, Derek,
another occasion.
Know? And she said, I don't know anything. I don't know anything. She's a good liar. Then she's a good liar.
That's a friend.
Jesus Christ. She's turning away almost in disgust, isn't it? Hold on.
That's a friend.
No, I don't want those gifts.
I know. Why not?
I don't care about, I like tangible goods.
No.
I don't care about,
that one at the end might be the worst, actually. She's talking about wanting more tangible gifts, right? Not wanting just affection, wanting fucking money, wanting stuff. But then she's also unwilling to like give something to get the stuff, you know, on camera at least. Now, so I don't know what to make of this. I really don't know what to make of this. I don't know if this is just, like I said, a traditional societal thing, religious thing, where people from that part of the world just don't kiss on camera like that. I don't know. I know there are some couples who don't really engage in a lot of that PDF on camera. People in general love to keep their stuff sort of private. But it doesn't look good, does it? Because if you tell me that she's not a fan of PDA, I'll be okay with that. But then why is he trying to do so? Why is he trying to engage in it? That's what I don't get, you know what I mean? She might not be a fan of PDA, but why is he always trying to kiss her then? If you know your person, you know what they're like, you know, I don't know. Sometimes you're with somebody that doesn't like to be touched too much. I don't know. People have got their things, in it. Sometimes there's people out there that don't like to be hugged too much, don't like to be touched too much, don't like to be quote unquote fondled, don't like to be fucking stroked or whatever. So you just avoid doing it for peace and harmony. You don't keep on doing it and then get surprised when they get annoyed, or you don't keep on doing it and then get rejected and then get pissed off that you get rejected. You just probably avoid it because you know your lady doesn't like that sort of stuff. Maybe you can troll them. I know some people like to troll people, right? If your lady's like not the biggest fan of surprises, you just keep giving them surprises because you know it kind of drives them mad. But this is really odd for a married couple. I'm not gonna lie, this is very strange for a married couple that he's trying to kiss her on camera, and it's not even like he's trying to give her like a wet sloppy one. He's just trying to like give her a kiss on the cheek, give her a little peck on the lips, and she's going out of her way to really like, you know, fucking dodge the kiss. Like even this one, she's probably putting her cheek as close as possible to her shoulder so he can't get his lips fully locked on her cheek. He can only kiss the side of her eye socket. You know, he's literally giving her the eye socket only to fucking kiss. She can kiss the eye socket, she can kiss his forehead, her forehead, sorry. He can kiss maybe the side of her hair, but there's no kisses going directly on the cheeks or directly on the mouth. Now, some girls also can be a bit picky about this sort of stuff because of skincare routines and makeup and shit, but I don't know, man. This is like, if you're gonna be this girl, and this is just my opinion again, if you're gonna be this type of girl who's very materialistic, who kind of has this odd sense of humor that she does where she's kind of constantly sort of mocking him and belittling him and stuff, I think if you're going to be that type of person, you also have to just give the other person what they want as well. There has to be a little bit of give and take. There has to be a little bit of quid pro quo. If you want Mew Mew, if you want a card with an unlimited balance, if that guy wants to squeeze your bum in public, if he wants to fucking fondle your boobs, if he wants to kiss you on the cheeks, kiss you on the lips, you're going to have to put up with it. You don't get to like start dodging, you know what I mean? Especially if you're married. If this is some fucking, sugar daddy thing, then cool, whatever. You don't have to kiss them on the lips. I know a lot of, I know in the, what did I see in that YouTube video? I saw a YouTube video once. I know they were speaking to, I think, girls that work in brothels and shit on some YouTube documentary I watched. And I think a lot of them basically said, yeah, they're not really, lips kissing is not encouraged. They don't let the guy get on top either, I think is a big thing too, if I'm not mistaken, right? I don't think there's a lot of allowing the guy to get on top. Obviously, you know what I mean? So, yes, if you work in that environment, fair enough. But if that's your husband, going out of your way to dodge his kisses like that, it's just diabolical, isn't it? It truly is diabolical. I don't understand what's going on there. I don't know if that's a miscommunication between the both of them. I don't know if she just generally doesn't like to be kissed on camera when she's on social media. I don't know. But it just doesn't look great, you know, for them, especially for Akaash. It makes him look fucking horrible. But there's one more video. That's not it. There's one more video. There's one more video to watch here. And this is another recent one that just is going to make you, you know, it's going to fill your heart with joy. Let me just say that. It's going to fill your heart with joy.
You know what's wild to me right now? Is that my husband, he said, I just ordered your Christmas gift. I was like, oh, what did you get me? He's like, I'm not going to tell you. So I'm like, okay, you know, trying to guess. And then he's like, what did you get for me? Excuse me?
The audacity.
The entitlement, the audacity. I'm a little taken aback, and I just want to know if any females have ever experienced this.
Yes, they're all going to say yes. They're all going to say yes. They buy gifts. You know what? Comment section, I want to hear what you have to say.
No,
The entitlement?
I only want to hear females.
By the way, I never noticed how big her two front teeth are until this video. Like, her two front teeth go pretty crazy. But again, is she trolling us, you think? Is this a troll? Is she winding us up? Is she really winding us up? Or do you think she really does feel like her husband being entitled for wanting a Christmas present? I don't know about you, but I feel like men are probably the easiest people to buy Christmas presents for the most part. Presents across the board. Like, you know, I mean, underwear boxes, you know, some sort of fragrance. You knocked it out of the park. I don't think any guy's going to have an issue with that. It's not even that deep. And women's obviously a lot more complex, maybe with her and her fucking taste in finer things. But I don't know, is she trolling or is she being serious? I just can't work it out.
I only want to hear females because it's like, I'm sorry, like, first of all, how many weekends were you gone this year, Akaash?
Working.
How many weekends?
I don't know, many. I lost count.
Okay, at least 30 out of 50. How many weekends are there? 52, right? Or 50, is it 51 or 52?
52.
Okay, at least 35, at least out of 52 weekends. And I do everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What was that scoffing?
I don't do anything.
I didn't say that, but I do everything.
Well, that's
I
impossible
take care of
to do
Happy.
everything.
I take care of our nieces. I run around to Pilates. run back, get all the groceries. I put them away. I clean the apartment. I do TikToks. What don't I do? I'm freaking super woman.
Christmas gift.
It's just like I'm appalled, honestly, at the.
I don't know. Is this what like relationship content is like anywhere online? I don't watch a lot of it. I don't consume a lot of like family content, relationship content. Is this what it's like? Bickering shit. Cause I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't find this entertaining whatsoever. I don't need to have like an insight or to have like a window into your guys' interpersonal kind of dynamic and shit. Like, yeah, I mean, I'd rather just watch like, I don't know, routines or something, daily routines of like a family, which is that might get boring after a while, don't get me wrong, but I don't think I would be okay with watching stuff like this, because what the fuck is going on here? Like, clearly this type of relationship isn't something that most people would be into anyway, right? It sounds super lopsided. It sounds like she's getting far more out of it than what Akaash is getting anyway, just in terms of the relationship probably shouldn't be looked at that way, but it just does seem that way anyway. I feel like nowadays as well, we've all been exposed to way more, like, how do you describe them? I think we get exposed on social media way more to like gold digger type stuff, right? Or girls that are about securing a bag and getting a rich guy to hold them down, whatever that content is. And I feel like a lot of those girls I've seen on social, even if they're OnlyFans, I feel like they're very they acknowledge the reciprocity that's involved. Is that even a thing? I think what I'm trying to say is that the girls I've seen online, I feel like they are understanding of what is needed in exchange to live that life. You know, I feel like they have a keen understanding of like, okay, cool, I'm dating this really rich guy, and I have to kind of understand that I have to be okay with maybe opening up the relationship. I have to be okay with him not being around too much. I have to be okay with maybe, you know, being a trophy wife person and the person not really caring too much about my emotions, asking me about my day. But you know you're getting something out of it too. She seems like the worst type. She seems like the type of person who she clearly wants to live a life where she's like, you know, being doted on and being kind of adored and being spent money on. But then she's also a pain in the ass. It's like, I don't think that's part of the, I don't think it works like that, you know? I think if you want to be this person, you also have to kind of like, for lack of a better term, and not to sound super misogynistic, but you got to shut the fuck up, you know? If you're going to live this life where you get given a card and you get to buy Miu Miu and you get to fucking go to Pilates every day and you get to fucking go to saunas and don't have to work, you have to then shut the fuck up. You can't have an opinion on a lot of things. I don't know if that's me and I'm in that type of relationship, which I wouldn't be anyway. I think that kind of exchange is a bit weird, but I don't want you to have opinions. You're kind of not allowed to have an opinion. You're kind of not allowed to talk to me like this, you know? I don't know if that sounds insane, but I don't think it does. Because I think there should be an understanding of like, okay, cool, I've got the money. You know, imagine that you're a guy, you're like, okay, I've got the money, I'm a bit fugly, but you're with me because of the money. You're not with me because of my looks. You're with me because of the money. You're with me because of my status and my clout. Okay, cool. There has to be understanding that if you want this lifestyle where I'm just going to let you kind of live and not have to work a single day in your life, you have to shut the fuck up. Like your mouth can be like slightly, you know, like Sydney Sweeney, your mouth is allowed to be like slightly ajar. I want you to have this kind of like dead, almost like bonked on the head look about you, you know, where you're kind of always ready to like, you know, to go that way. But I don't want to hear any opinions. I don't want you to give me your thoughts. I don't want to ever hear your thoughts. I don't want to ever hear your fucking outlook on life and your dreams. I don't care. Or not even, no, actually dreams I'll run with. Dreams I'll run with. If you want to open a salon or something to play around in and stuff, you know what I mean? I'll bankroll that. But you're not about to sit there and tell me that you're not going to buy me a present. Like, are you insane?
Behavior. And
it's the entitlement that you don't think you have to get me anything. That's what bothers me.
Have you ever watched?
She could buy him a fucking New York Knicks hat and it's okay. It's kind of not, but it is. She could go to New Era and just buy him a New York Knicks hat and it's perfectly fine. Done. Great fucking Christmas. And here she is fucking saying, I'm not getting you anything. It's like, okay.
Real Housewives of New Jersey season.
Right now.
Have you ever watched Real Housewives of New Jersey season 3, the Christmas episode, when Melissa got the shoes She got like a Louis Vuitton baggage, and she got a gold Rolex, and she got a recording studio. Did Joe ever ask her, where's my gift? So don't talk to me.
I don't know. Big up Successful Egg on the stream chat. There's an interview with Neil Brennan. He explains how he feels she is too hot for him and always feels like he did something wrong. He's too toxic as fuck. I don't agree with that personally. I don't agree with that notion that there's anybody too hot for anybody anyway. Personally, I think that's a misnomer. But even if you do agree, even if you're a believer in that mindset, you're a believer in that kind of way of like, oh, there can be someone that's too hot for you. I don't necessarily think she's the person to talk. I think if you're gonna have like, it's not permittable. It's not like a thing of like, oh, if you date somebody super attractive, that it gives them an excuse to be a dickhead to you. I don't think that should be the way life should run, and I don't think it does run that way, for lack of a better term. Or, you know, to be honest, I don't think it does. I don't have the experience of it myself, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it does. I don't think like super attractive, let's say like conventional 10s have this opinion. I don't think they do. But even if you're gonna say that, I don't think she's a conventional 10. No offense to a lady, but I don't even think she's even that hot to have this attitude. That's the thing that bugs me the most. I don't even necessarily think she's hot enough to have this opinion, or to have this point of view, or to have this attitude, or to talk the way that she does. She doesn't have it, and it's almost insulting. You know, I think that's what makes it even more insulting. It's like, bruh, like you're not built that way. You don't have the minerals. You don't have the fucking, you know what I mean, the accolades to be acting and talking this way. People shouldn't talk like that anyway, but just in general, you should, like, what? Like, he could find far hotter girls from that part of the world. She's not that flame. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm the type of person that also gets a little bit put off by people's personality. So if you've got a stinky personality, it doesn't really matter how hot you are to me, really. It's gonna really affect the way that I kind of look at you and kind of view you anyway. So maybe for me, after watching so many videos of her talking and being a bit of a piece of shit to her husband, it's kind of not made her look so attractive to me in my point of view. Doesn't matter, of course, because she's with Akaash, who gives a fuck what I have to say. But I think her, whatever attractive levels that she did have, completely kind of gets whittled away because of how she acts, you know, and the way that she talks. It's just not for me personally, not for me. But hey, only Akaash have to deal with this. Only Akaash will have to deal with this. And then, of course, what makes it worse, just to end it, right? What makes it worse, just to end it? I remember mentioning the other day that I'm one of the type of people who I think, unfairly anyway, it's probably not the most fair thing to do, but I would definitely judge someone based on what person they were with previously, right? I don't necessarily care about that sort of stuff, but if it came up and I saw it, it would actually maybe affect the way that I look at somebody. And I think a lot more guys should do this. And I think the example I used was Yuri and Riley. Yuri, formerly of a No Jumper, he dates this girl called Riley, who a lot of people on the internet really think is attractive and shit, and think that she's hot. And a lot of the hate that Yuri gets online is sometimes tinted with this idea that, or it's kind of, you know, sprinkled with this spice of some guys basically wanting to kind of save Riley from Yuri. Like, oh my god, I can't believe Riley's going out Yuri. People think Yuri's ugly, and they think Riley's really hot. Me personally, I've always had a different opinion, because I thought to myself, you know, this Yuri guy is well known on the internet of being somebody that brags about only showering once a day, or once a week, sorry. He's also known as somebody that just looks a little bit like, you know, he just looks like shit in general. It would make me look at Riley worse, actually. It wouldn't want, you know what I mean? It wouldn't make her look appealing that you have been dating and been in a long-term relationship with and live with a guy who showers once a day. You know, I wouldn't like that. And I think for me personally, if I was Akaash and I saw pictures like this, right, this is an old picture of her, and it kind of makes me think of that video where she says, oh, back in the day I was in college popping my pussy, and these are the guys that she was hanging out with. This is the caliber of men that she was talking about, you know, that were really out here like pushing the line, that she was out here having a lot of fun with and stuff. And it's like, I don't know, if I'm Akaash, like, I'm kind of offended, you know, because these, you know, no offense to the lads, but these are just some average looking dudes, isn't it? And she's out here talking about, she's making it seem as if she was dating, I don't know, whatever his name is, Patrick Schweizinger and stuff, and Chris Pine. I don't know, Harry Styles looking guys, and these are just some regular run-of-the-mill looking dudes. So these are the dudes that were kind of pushing the line and doing what they wanted allegedly to her back in the day in college and shit, and she was all braggy about it. I don't know, but then I also understand this is also one of those weird like cultural things, isn't it? Like for some reason, I don't know what it is, but Asian girls love to, that there's a thing with Asian girls and dating like mediocre looking white guys. I don't know what that is about. I've never really understood that. It kind of works both ways too. I think even men do it sometimes. But there is a thing about Asian girls sometimes, you know, fetishizing white men, but not even like hot looking ones, just like standard, wherever they look like regular. The more regular, the better. And I guess, I don't know, if I'm Akaash, I'd be a little bit offended. I'd be a little bit offended that someone that had a roster like this is out here talking with their chest. You know what I mean? Look at some of your fucking, you know, guys, man. Look at some of your guys. But hey, what do I know? What do I know? This is a list courtesy of this random Instagram account. Not too sure where it actually comes from. This information is collated from, but the list is fucking shocking. Allegedly, these are the world's top 100 clubs for 2025, right? How many of them? To where 100? I keep saying how many? Duh. But the list is pretty scary. I'm not gonna lie. Let's read the caption first of all, because I feel like weirdly enough, this could also be used as a list for you to avoid. This could be used as a list for clubs that you should be avoiding, full stop. So let me read the caption. It says, congratulations to the world's 100 top clubs 2025. From Ibiza to Singapore, Miami to Marrakesh, every nightlife capital in between, this year's ranking showcases the venues that continue to elevate global nightlife with innovation, quality, unforgettable experiences. Cheers to all the clubs that made it on the list. A huge thank you to sponsors and collaborators for making this list possible. Now let's run through some of the clubs, because some of the clubs I don't even recognize, I'm not gonna lie. So the first three is an interesting choice, right? The top what? Oh, by myself, all E1 in London. So let's go for the top five. The top five. One, you got Universe in Ibiza. I think visually Universe is pretty cool, right? I've never been there, of course, myself, but visually I think they do a really good job in terms of capturing what goes on in the club. It looks fucking amazing. Those big windows, how the light comes up how the light comes through the windows when the sun rises and the sun sets and shit. All of the drones they've got flying around, all the stuff hanging on the fucking banisters. If I'm not mistaken, the club also has, if I'm not mistaken, I think Universe has like one of those dance floors where it's like it rides at the back, which is kind of cool. So you could always see the DJ booth. I'm pretty sure if you stand at the back, so I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that the dance floor kind of goes down and then up again. So if you're standing at the back, you can always see the dance floor. So that's pretty cool. And also the location as well just looks amazing, right? They got High in Ibiza, Ursula in Ibiza. Number 4 is a place called Boots House in Cologne in Germany. I've not actually ever heard that. What the fuck is Boots House? There's a place called Boots House in Cologne, Germany. Boots House. What the fuck does that look like? A random club in Cologne is in the top 5. Okay, fair play. This is what Boots House looks like. It just looks like a big warehouse with loads of lights and pyrotechnics and shit. Looks like they've got, that's actually a cool little feature though. I'm not too mad at that. That's actually a little cool feature. They've got like a little balcony canopy thing. Is that cool or is that weird? The DJ booth is here. And then to the left of the DJ booth, there's like this, like, I guess this is probably a VIP section. There's like a little canopy, a little mezzanine, a little balcony up above where people can stand on. Strange, but I guess maybe that could work for some people. Anyway, let's go back to the list again. Where is it? It's over here. So it says E1, also E11 in Miami. I thought that was E1 in fucking London. I was about to say a place called Shoko, Barcelona. DC10 in Ibiza, Opium in Barcelona again, and the 10 is a place called Echo Stage in Washington DC. Now, as horrible as some of these places sound, one of the things that kind of made me consider maybe this list might be kind of sick is that obviously the kind of clubs that I go to wouldn't be on this list, but I think that might be actually a good thing. You know, that might actually be a good thing to kind of expand your clubbing horizons by checking out some of these places which are a little bit more commercial, right? They're a little bit more bait. They're not the most underground places in the world, but it might open you up to different places, you know? to go into, because there are some spots on here that I would probably never consider going to, even on a vacation. But one of the good things about doing, you know, a bit of techno tourism, whatever it's called, is that it opens you up to go to different places that you would never go to, but you're going there only for a club. But then you end up exploring the place in general and finding it pretty cool. Case in point, when I went to Frankfurt that one time, I went to Frankfurt to visit this club called Robert Johnson. Don't get me wrong, would I stay in Frankfurt for like a month or 2 weekends? Probably not. But it was a good place to go to, like, because I've always only been to Berlin, so it's nice to kind of go somewhere else in Germany and to kind of get exposed to another kind of clubbing tour scene and whatever else it may be. And most likely, if Robert Johnson wasn't in Frankfurt, I probably would never have gone there. So it kind of gives you an excuse to go to some places. So there are some places on this list, like location wise, like this place called Echo Stage, Washington DC. There's probably not going to be any time in my life where I'd ever go to Washington DC, but because there's a club there called Echo Stage, I probably might check it out. You know what I mean? So I think these lists sometimes can work really good for that sort of thing. I'm actually curious to see, what does this Echo Stage, Washington, what does this place look like? Echo Stage, what's it about? Let's see. Echo Stage is a music venue located on Langdon neighborhood of Washington. Opened in 2012, the hybrid nightclub and concert hall has over 30,000 square feet of space and maximum capacity of 3,000 guests. But the only problem with going to these type of places, right, is that most likely I'm not going to like any of the people playing there, right? That I think is pretty obvious. I'm probably not going to enjoy any of the people playing there. Let me actually quickly check it before I make that comment. Let me see who's playing there today. This is Echo Stage in Washington. Up and coming gigs. Who they got playing? I don't know any of these people. Ross, I think I know who Rossi is. I think Rossi's like a tech house person. I Hate Models, I know. Who else do I know here? Romeo, I know. That's a legendary like person. Kate Trinada. Okay, cool. So these people I know. I'm not gonna lie. This is pretty decent. Fisher, I know who he is. DJ Snake, obviously. There's quite a lot of people here who I'm familiar with. But some of the clubs, the hard thing about it is that if you go and you don't like the music, it's going to be hard to stay and enjoy it, you know? That's one of the hard things. Even if the vibes are good, that's the hard thing is about nightclubs. That's why nightclubs are probably not the best place to go if you want to listen to live music. Perhaps just going to a gig, innit? A live music gig. Because it's going to be really hard for you to stay in a nightclub for like 4 hours plus if you're not really a fan of the genre, you know? If you're not really a fan of the DJs that are playing there, even if the vibes are immaculate, you're going to have a hard time being in there. But yeah, one thing about American clubs, they love lasers and lights, innit? I think I've noticed that straight away with clubs in America. American clubs love lasers and lights and smoke and shit. Look at all these fucking stuff. Look at the LEDs. All the smoke, all the pirate, they love it. Don't get me wrong, that's whatever his name is, right? With the cakes and shit. But it looks like they fucking love a good light. You guys love a good LED. But yeah, it's a bit of a mad one. La Rock, Pasha's on there. There's any clubs? Fabric is number 24. Really? That can't be right. Fabric is no way. Fabric is the 24th best club in the world. Anyone that's been to Fabric will know, but there's no way Fabric is the 24th best club in the world. Honestly, no fucking way. That search alone. No, look, they got Ministry of Sound 28. It's fucking hilarious. The Fabric search alone will completely change the way you look at clubbing. That Fabric search on the door will fucking make you hate clubbing overall. So I don't necessarily think that's right. I don't necessarily think that one's right. Fitz Club in Madrid. I've heard good things about that one. Club Feria. There's a club in Chile here. Club La Feria. I like that. See what I mean about this list. This might be a decent one to check out then. So I'll put the link in the description. Studio 338 is it? Really? Fucking hell. Studio 338. Okay, fair play. I'll put the link in the description so you can check it out. It's a pretty interesting list. It's a pretty interesting list. None other. Let's continue. So, I was speaking a little bit. I think this is relating to the thumbnail of the particular podcast today. I've spoken in the past about this rise. It feels like a rising trend. It feels like we're definitely going to see something happening within the next couple of years, at a high level. But it looks like a lot of companies are popping up, trying their hand at trying to ace the home robotics side of things, or the home robot side of things, home robot companion, whatever it's called, right? There's a couple of companies out there. Neo's obviously doing one. Tesla's got their Optimus bot. There's a few other companies also kind of putting out their versions, and some of them are powered by AI. Some of them are going to be teleoperated, which means they're going to have somebody remotely operating them. But essentially, the idea is that they want to get to, I guess in tech, we want to get to a place where if you're able to afford it, you can have a robot, a humanoid bot at home that can do menial tasks, whether it comes to, you know, cleaning the table, setting the table, doing your washing, opening doors, blah, 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 blah. It's going to be a while until we get there, I think, overall, but I am really enjoying seeing it kind of play out in real time, because it's giving me a glimpse of the future, right? A lot of people say, you know, tech is a bit boring. We've kind of hit a bit of a ceiling. All the phones look the same, cameras. There's not a lot of real technological advances happening in front of us. We don't really have flying cars. You know, the fucking boring company tunnels thing hasn't really worked out. We don't really have glass phones yet. There's a lot of way, long way to go. But I feel like watching these type of things kind of play out in real time is giving me hope that we might eventually get to a place where the future starts looking at the future. So one of the companies that is starting to do this is a company called Sunday, which I stumbled across just today on social media. And they put a couple of tweets out kind of, you know, showcasing what they're about. So this is a robotics company called Sunday. And it says, after 18 months in stealth, dozens of prototypes, millions of real home demonstrations, and one final all-nighter, we're thrilled for you to say hello to Memo. So it's a company called Sunday that has a robot called Memo. That's essentially going to be helping you all around your house with your household chores. So let's see the video where they kind of showcase it. This is a promo video for the robot. Memos for dishes.
OJ is here. Oh,
check these out.
Look amazing.
That's pretty cool. Memos for laundry. Memos for messes.
Yo, honey.
Thanks, baby.
You're welcome.
Sundays for you. That's pretty cool.
You know, so far so good.
That's good.
Memo, the helpful home robot. Sunday, beta launch, sorry, late 2026. Obviously it's going to be powered by AI, as you can see, Sunday AI on the URL. One thing I really like about it, looks wise, number one, is that they're not trying to make it look lifelike. I think that's going to be a real big kind of like way for them to stand out amongst all the other robots out there at the moment. It doesn't look super lifelike. It kind of reminds me, I don't know, I guess there's loads of science fiction books that have a robot that kind of looks like this. If anything, I think the base is like a box square where it has wheels on it, so it's not like legs, so I guess it's easier to move around. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like a wheels at the bottom of it. Obviously it's got arms and a head still, but it's not the most lifelike looking. One other thing I really like about it as well, which a lot of companies are doing now, is this idea that these humanoid robots, in terms of like, you know, what their purpose is going to be, is that they're trying to sell it as a way for you to maybe connect more, a way for us, I guess, humans to basically do a lot more stuff that we enjoy doing. So to kind of free you up from all the menial tasks, so you don't have to always think about these type of things. So you can kind of, you know, head out to the patio, head out to your fucking balcony, like this lady did, and read your book while your humanoid or while your home robot loads up the dishwasher, folds up the clothes, starts the laundry, blah 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 blah. I think that's a very good way to kind of sell these type of things, and to kind of make people more comfortable to use them. Now obviously, you know, in practice it's probably going to be different. The hope, you know, when Apple started, I think the hope was when you use a MacBook, you're going to change the world by creating these really interesting pieces of art or content or starting a business. And really, most of us have a MacBook, so we're just browsing fucking Pornhub and shit, right? So, you know, there could be a hope, there could be a dream, but when it's put into people's hands, it can be completely different. So who knows what's going to happen? But I do like that side of things. And I guess, again, like I said, I just like the fact that it looks very playful, you know? It looks very, very playful. I do like the fact that they've tried it. It seems like design wise they've tried their best to essentially kind of steer away from it being humanoid, because I think I remember reading or watching a video where they described how difficult it was working at a robotics company and trying to replicate how regular hands move. It's one of the hardest things to do, about recognizing and realizing how, you know, to kind of differentiate between grips and touches and different fingers moving at the same time and shit. So I guess they've kind of cheated in their design by making it a little bit more of a robot looking way. So it's got more of a clasp. From what I can see here, the hands look more like a clasp claw type of style. So it makes it probably easier to design. It maybe easier to kind of iterate, or maybe just easier to use in general too, to be completely honest, which I really fucking love. And it's got even complex tasks like this, like folding, which is probably not going to be the easiest thing to do as a kid is playing around, and you can kind of see what's going on there. And I also like the fact that from what I can tell about the video, the way it's paced, I feel like they did it on purpose. It's kind of paced in a way where it's giving you a kind of snapshot of what this robot would look like and how it would move IRL in, you know what I mean, in real time sort of thing, or in real life. It's not like done in a way where they're trying to fake the way it moves, you know what I mean? Because even when the vase falls off the table, and the robot comes to pick it up, it takes a while. It's not instant, you know what I mean? So I think they're doing a good job of sort of like managing people's expectations, because I feel like we're gonna get to a point where maybe next year, where a lot more of these robotics companies come out and they just start being honest. I feel like the days of these robotic companies coming out telling us that, oh, this is all done remotely, this is all done AI, this is all machine learning, this has got it's like, no, you know what I mean? If you got a teleoperator, just come out and say you're gonna have a team full of teleoperators in fucking Singapore, Philippines, India, whatever, operating these things from afar. And if it's going to be something that is going to run by itself, then also be honest and show potential customers the pace, the speed, you know, maybe the clunkiness of how it moves, to manage people's expectation. Because what you don't want, if you're a robotics company starting these type of brands, right, starting these type of projects, I'd imagine what you don't want is to launch it under the proviso that it's this like really responsive, really on point, fast, quick learning language model AI thing. But then when people get in their houses, they realize that it's very clunky, you know what I mean? It needs to be spoken to 1,000,000 times to do the same one simple task. You don't want that. You want people to kind of have an accurate idea of what they're going to get when they get it in their homes. So I like that they're kind of managing expectations that way as well. But it looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, it looks pretty cool. The second tweet here says, home robots are inevitable. Our job is to make them the kind that you want. We're building Memo to be friendly, safe, useful, and affordable, and fully autonomous. That's the hope in the end. We're deeply grateful for our early believers, this person who have steered us right through some of the hardest stretches of this journey. This is just the beginning. We hope the story and the work speaks for itself. We're sharing more throughout the day about our tech, our team, and where we're headed. If you're excited, apply for our founding member family. I'm actually curious to see, do they post more stuff about it? It's actually a really, really interesting design and thing that they're trying to do here. I'm very curious to see how it's going to pan out and how it's going to work. Oh, look at that. We got some more stuff. Let's see this other video here. It started in 2024. It started in 2020. It started with Tony, someone Zhao, and who's this person? Tony who? It started with Tony Zhao and a person called Shang-Chi in their apartment in April 2024. Wow, they brought it to market pretty quickly then. Within 2 years, this is going to be ready to fucking purchase. It was only founded in 2024. Fuck. We moved out of our hacker house in Mountain View, February 2025 with 10 people. Today we are a team of over 30 team. Velocity of progress to a real useful robot is everything to us. The process or the progress we've shared so far with Memo and ACT1 are the only possible through building an incredible team focused on the same goal. So let's check this out, this video. This probably might be a recruitment video, but let's check it out anyway.
There are moments when we're just walking around the office and somebody's testing the robot and everybody just kind of stops because it's so exciting.
What we are seeing these days is there are a lot of AI tools that makes you work harder, let it be ChatGPT or all these agents that build upon it. But what we are building at Sunday is the exact opposite.
Prior to this, we were in a house in Mountain View. It was packed, difficult to work in that space.
The neighbors were asking us like what we're working on because they will see the garage with 16 3D printers running 24/7. We didn't want to tell them that we're working on a robotics startup. So I think we said it was like an Etsy business.
But that's where the company started. I kept hearing about Tony and Chung as like a recurring theme.
They represent what I would call young mavericks in the space. This new generation, this new wave of roboticists.
Tony's Aloha and Chung's Umi research told us that with enough data, dexterous manipulation tasks are actually possible, even with pretty low-cost hardware.
What Chung and I set out to prove independently, and what really brings us together as to start this company, is the idea that we should think about robotics as part of AI. There are plenty of companies that are building on our work to advance their research, but what we are building here is something that is even larger, to put a robot in every home. But we believe we can do it faster.
There's a really popular concept in robotics called Moravec's paradox, that what's effortless for humans can be really, really difficult to teach a machine.
In order to do a basic task like dishwashing, you need to push, rub, or twist your fingers. And there's other like 100 different micro interactions you do with the object that we don't even have a name for. These are the capability that are so intuitive, so easy for human, but that's actually very hard for robots.
That basically requires a ton of data because the robot has to extrapolate how to behave in an environment.
Just as an aside, it is kind of annoying how none of this stuff seems to happen in the UK, isn't it? They're obviously something tied. Maybe it's to do with red tape. Maybe it's just to do with earning potential. I'd imagine if you're a robotics engineer, the salary, like, you know, salaries in the UK are already terrible. So I'd imagine a robotics engineer in North America probably earns like 3 times what a robotics engineer in the UK earns. But it is kind of frustrating how even in Europe, just Europe overall, not even the UK, why don't we seem to have such a thriving startup industry economy as they have over there in North America? There seems to be so many interesting, cool things popping off. Now, some of it kind of fails, doesn't necessarily see the light of day, maybe doesn't fucking fulfill its potential, blah, 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 blah. But there are people out there taking chances, you know what I mean? Trying a thing, all sleeping in one house and trying to figure out, you know, how to put a robot in everyone's home and shit for the future. We don't have none of that. We have zero. We barely have clubs. We barely have nightclubs, you know what I mean? We barely have those. And the ones that we do have, the ones that do like the bare minimum, people fucking suck them off like this fucking hacienda. I wonder what it is about the UK and entrepreneurism or just startups in general. We just can't seem to do this thing. Like, there's definitely people here smart enough to do it, who have the ideas, have the qualifications, but for some reason they all decide to go to places like North America and pursue their dreams over there instead of doing them over here. I'm wondering why that is. Maybe it's just purely money, I don't know.
Environment that is completely unique to the family that lives in it.
It takes me some reflection to realize the way I learned how to fold t-shirts because my mom showed me exactly how to do it. And holding my hand, that's like a very natural way to specify how a task should be done.
What we're doing differently is we're building these gloves that records how your hand moves.
With imitation learning, anyone wearing the gloves can just show the robot exactly how the task should be done.
Oh, wow.
This is the glove that people are actually using.
We call that group of people the memory developers.
That's pretty
because they're
cool.
developing the memory of the robot.
Everything that memory developers do with these gloves eventually transfer to a piece of memory that the robot can do.
Because we have the largest, most diverse, and highest quality robotics data set in the world, it means that makes us be able to have the world's fastest learning robot.
We're actually able to try training and evaluating a new task every week or two, which is a really unprecedented speed of development. And it's really thanks to the 500 memory developers we have out in the wild sending us huge quantities of data.
Sunday is a full set.
Yo, big up Don Dot on the stream chat. I can see these AI robots being the IoT Internet of Things on 2020s. Will first be marketed heavily in the B2C market, but eventually become a B2B industry specific market thing. Yeah, for sure. I can definitely see that too. I just want to see who ends up kind of winning the race. That's what I'm curious to see. I'm not gonna lie. I'm more curious to see who ends up winning the race. Which version of these robots will end up being the most ubiquitous? Which version of these robots will end up catching everyone's imagination? Which version of these robots will actually end up working, you know? But because I feel like the robots thing is weird, because I feel like nowadays, maybe it's just me, I've noticed way more people have those like robot vacuum cleaners in their homes now, but I feel like that took a long time to pick up. I feel like those like robotic kind of vacuums, they've existed for a long time, but it feels like only within the last few years I feel like a lot more people have got them now. I wonder if that's because of prices, maybe because the tech or the cost of the tech has kind of lowered, which means the price of the purchase of those vacuum cleaners is lower too. But I feel like way more people have them now in their apartments and are comfortable having them and shit, timing them, blah blah, even stuff, you know, I wouldn't say you would think a Ring camera is a robot, but still all that sort of stuff has become ubiquitous. So I'm really curious to see which version, which form type, what price point will be the one that wins.
Company, and you can think about it in two ways. One way is that we're full stack in the technology sense, that in-house we have hardware, we have software, we have supply chain, and we of course have amazing AI researchers. The other way to think about it is that we're full stack when it comes to the development stages. We have research and we have product and engineering in between.
So cool.
This is tremendously exciting. This is a really pivotal moment in not just robotics, but for what the future could hold.
A home robot is truly one of the most magical products that will happen in this century.
Home robot is a certainty. The only question is when and how.
Staying humble and being interested in learning is core to the culture of the team and is part of what makes us so fast. We went from this to this in 18 months.
Amazing.
I think it looks very friendly.
Yeah, it does actually.
I think of Sunday as that day that you get to do everything on your own terms.
It really sounds like a word that encapsulates the team and the product that we're building.
Time is absolutely the most valuable thing that we have. To be able to give people their time back is incredibly valuable.
Let it be spending time with your family, your friends, your hobbies, and all these things that make us intrinsically human. And this is the future we want to build at Sunday.
You know what's funny though? I feel like there are some of us out there who kind of enjoy having stuff to do to kind of distract us so that we don't have time to think about things and we don't have time to kind of do things that we enjoy. Some of us probably like to do busy work around the home to keep ourselves busy, to make sure that we don't crash out or that we don't have a breakdown or whatever, or have a manic episode. So I'm wondering when, like, if they'll end up being like one of those things of, you know, a lot of unintended consequences, or people where this will become widespread, home robots will become cheaper to buy, so a lot more people will have them. But then on the flip side, we might notice a spike in fucking mental health issues because people will then realize how little they have in their lives when they take away all the menial chores and shit that they do around the home, you know? They'll quickly get bored. They'll quickly start to question their purpose, all this malarkey. I wonder if that will happen too. I wonder if that will happen as well. But yeah, I love what they're trying to do, at least for the time being. Is there any more clips here? No, we don't. They represent the charge. We see more videos there. Same thing we saw previously. And then I think there's one article here. There's obviously a website you can see here where you can obviously sign up to be a part of the founding family. Join the founding family, apply for the 2026 beta, be one of the first to welcome Memo into your home, guide what Memo learns, gain exclusive access to the Sunday team's journey. So I guess when you are part of the founding team, you'll be able to use maybe one of those gloves to kind of obviously help them learn how to use, or how the robot can kind of move around, because that's a really cool feature. Because from what I can understand, the gloves that you can get, you can basically get those gloves to teach the robot how to pick up certain things around your home. If they're a particular size or they're a bit awkward and stuff, you can kind of teach your robot the way you want stuff to be kind of put away, packed, all that sort of stuff, which is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty cool kind of idea. Again, I just love how it looks. I love the fact that they've gone for a less of a super realistic humanoid robot and more of a robot that you would see in like an anime or like in a cartoon or like in a sci-fi series. I kind of like that approach. I really do. It's really cool design. It's got this like orange hat that it wears that kind of makes it look like a kid teenage type of thing. These two slits. Yeah, I really do like the approach that they went with. I ain't mad at it in the slightest. Let's click here. What to say? Find it. Okay, cool. That's how you become a founding member. Just do your first name, last name, and email. Nice. Nothing crazy. As one of the founding families, you'll be the first in line to secure a limited edition numbered memo As one of the earliest adopters of home robots, you will guide what Memo learns, inform Memo's design, and play a crucial role in shaping the journey of the whole industry. Memo will be tailored to your home, and you'll get exclusive access to Sunday HQ, get invites to launch events and demo days. I love it. I love it, man. Big up Sunday. Big up Sunday Robotics. So if you want to check out yourself, check it out on sunday.ai. It'll be available over there on sunday.ai. Moving on. Last topic to talk about before I head over to Random Show. This is something that kind of bugged me. I'm not going to lie. This topic kind of bugged me. Now, this is courtesy of the National Crime Agency. They're kind of celebrating an arrest of a drug dealer. And the sentence is what bugged me the most. So this guy, right, was nabbed for, you know, the usual smuggling bricks of cocaine and whatever else it may be. This guy got 20 years. I don't think a single person was hurt, no violence, no nothing, just a guy, you know, slinging some of that fucking Escobar. 20 years in prison. Then you look at this article, because of The Guardian, look at this headline. Man jailed for life, which is 20 plus years or 27 years, for murdering his ex-wife at their son's grave in Hampshire. This man got sentenced to 27 years in prison for murdering his wife on the gravesite of their dead son. Yet this guy who sold a bit of coke got 20 years. I'm not, you know, numbers are numbers, but I would say murdering your ex-wife on your dead son's graveyard is worse than selling cocaine. And I think 7-year difference doesn't really illustrate that. It doesn't really illustrate that in the slightest, a 7-year difference. And that's the one thing that really perplexes me when it comes to sentencing guidelines. They're really odd. They're all over the shop. It doesn't really make any sense. Like, you could be a drug dealer that doesn't necessarily hurt anybody, right? Like, it's one thing if you're a drug dealer that's killed your fucking rivals, or maybe the stuff that you've sold has killed people because it's been cut with fentanyl and shit. But if you're selling drugs to grown up, I know it's illegal, I know you're not meant to do it, I get it, blah de blah, drugs are bad, we know. But selling drugs to fucking adults and then getting 20 years and killing somebody should be two different types of sentencing, and they shouldn't be close. Really and truly, they shouldn't be close. Let's read the article anyway. So this is courtesy of the National Crime Agency. It says Operation Vinitec. Kent man jailed for cocaine supply. A drug dealer from Kent who supplied multiple kilo quantities of cocaine to gangs in London has been jailed. So, you know, he's a bit of a wholesaler, right? So maybe that's why he was a bit of a wholesaler. This guy wasn't fucking around with 8 balls and stuff. He was selling kilos. Officers from Organised Crime Partnership, a joint national crime agency, and the Metropolitan Police investigated 34-year-old Joshua Bromwell from Hampshire. He used encrypted communication platform, EncroChat, bro. Yo, could somebody, like, I'm starting to think, right? And maybe I'm not the only person that thinks this. The whole thing about EncroChat, when EncroChat first started, I remember hearing about it. And if I remember correctly, when EncroChat first started, you could only get EncroChat on particular type of phones. And that's how it was sold. It was sold as you can only use EncroChat on a particular style, particular branded, particular designed phone. I don't think it turned out to be true, but that was the whole gimmick. Then over time, it was just, it's just an encryption thing, right? It's an encrypted thing. It's impossible to crack or to kind of break into. But then as the story goes, I think what happened, if I'm not mistaken, during the pandemic, obviously a lot of arrests went down during EncroChat, but I think the main breakthrough the police got around the world was that one person who they busted, whoever the person was, the story goes, somewhere in Europe, the police ransacked someone's home, and that person was using EncroChat. And when the police burst through, the person was on the phone still and didn't lock their phone. So the police were able to get that phone and then use that guy's profile, whoever that person was, to then start monitoring all the other chat rooms and shit, and then nab all the other people. Essentially, that's what I heard, because they tried to make it seem like, oh, they hacked it, but they never really hacked it, I don't think, the police. But then the other story narrative is that EncroChat was a police operation anyway. That's another story, that it was a long-term police project. They're never going to admit it, but allegedly the police set this up in the first place to monitor gangs and to essentially take them down. That was the whole proviso, and they kind of got lucky with COVID, because COVID forced everyone to sit down, which then made these people easier to go and arrest because they couldn't run around the world. they kind of had to stay where they were and shit. But either way, EncroChat has been the downfall of a lot of criminal organized crime. A lot of drug dealing has gone kind of by the wayside because of EncroChat, which is weirdly enough, I think, as well as a sub, you know, as one of those consequences they don't fucking intend. During COVID too, there was a bit of a drought of some of the good stuff, and I do remember a lot of people complaining about the quality. So I wonder if there was, although they were able to bring down a lot of these crime groups, a lot of these smugglers, a lot of these drug dealers, I wonder if they also could see and notice a spike in some of the bad things, which meant people kind of, you know, going to hospital and shit and falling ill because the stuff that was available wasn't good, or people having to kind of cut corners to kind of figure it out. I don't know. But let's continue. He says this person used an encrypted platform called EncroChat to arrange supply of 3 kilos of cocaine to South London locations, including Stockwell Oval, between March and June 2020, under the handle Ace Carlito. The organized crime group he led also supplied cocaine to London Fields gang. LF Rated. I haven't heard about LF in a while. Big up LF. That name used to ring bells back in the day. London Fields gang, who are known to be involved in civic and criminal violence, including the use of firearms. Romeo also supplied cocaine in 2023 via WhatsApp on a conventional phone, claiming in court that he was a special music producer. Jesus Christ. He was selling bricks on WhatsApp, you know. God almighty. The WhatsApp conspiracy was revealed when US border security officers questioned him after he landed in Atlanta airport in June 2023. They examined his phone and found messages. Wow, they can do that. God, that's scary. Can they do that in America? If they stop you, what's that? Is that Border Patrol? Is that, I don't know what they call it. Is that TSA? TSA can look through your phone. I guess if you want to if you're trying to get to the country, right, and you're a foreigner, it's on you, innit? It's your prerogative, because they're gonna say, hey, if you don't make us look at your phone, we're gonna send you back home. But I would never let them look at my phone. What the fuck? Like, if you don't want me, if you think I'm a bit dodgy, you don't want to let me to your country, fair enough, I'd go back home. But I'm not gonna let you look for my phone. That's fucking insane. Shit. They examined his phone and found messages threads which showed that he was orchestrating drug dealing on a large scale. This included at least 52 kilos supplied over the course of 15 days. God almighty. What an idiot. What an idiot. He probably should have never taken that phone with him on holiday in the first place. But hey, the first thread was a user called Biggs, who was identified as 29-year-old John Nawogabo from Erith in Bexley. He was arrested by OCP officers in June 2023 in possession of 35 kilos of cocaine, which was found in a safe house in Peacock Close. Barnett, he subsequently pleaded guilty of drug supplying offences and was jailed for 7 years in 2024. So this guy got 7 years for 35, and that guy got 52 kilos. Again, sentencing makes no sense to me. Other messages show that Bromwell paid $3,500 for hidden compartments to be added to a vehicle used to transport drugs. OTP officers arrested him in his home in September 2023, with subsequent searches uncovering a lavish lifestyle, designer clothing, high-value electronic goods throughout the home, as well as 2 Rolex watches, thousands of pounds, an Audemars Piguet watch, and receipts from Harrods. One of the things I think is also you have to be very cautious of, especially if you're a black person living in the UK, because in general in this country people don't usually tend to carry cash anyway. I feel like if you're carrying high amounts of cash, you have to have your I's dotted and your T's crossed. The feds are going to take that shit from you. You have to be very careful. I think it's obviously harder to money launder through bank accounts and stuff, I would imagine, but I think if you're a criminal, you probably should find a way to put that shit in a bank somehow, or maybe convert it to crypto. Having cash around with you, although it looks flashy and stuff, I just think it's like a red flag. It really is a big fucking red flag to a lot of these cops, because they're gonna think straight away you're involved in something that you shouldn't probably be involved in. But hey, what do I know? It continues. These items were clashed with Bromwell's tax returns, suggesting from 2020 to 2024 he had an annual income of 18 grand. That's hilarious, isn't it? Your tax returns show you have an income of 18,000, but then you've got 2 Rolex watches, tens of thousands of pounds in fucking JD bags, Christian Dior trainers, loads of Selfridges bags all over your bedroom. Bromwell was charged with 2 counts of conspiracy in the supply of Class A drugs, cocaine, A jury convicted him in Croydon Crown Court on the 24th of January this year, following a 2-week trial. He was sentenced to 20 years at the same court today. 20 years, bro. Elements of the OCP investigation formed part of the Operation Tech. Andrew Ticker said, in one sense, Joshua Bromwell was a typical street-level dealer, as his activity from 2022 demonstrates. However, this investigation showed that he's also had a lavish life of luxury, which enabled higher-end dealing, all while claiming to be a music producer. The unique that's a really good cover, I'm not gonna lie. I produce music, but you're driving to fucking Pirate Studios in the fucking Lamborghini. That's fucking hilarious. The unique partnership between NCA and Metropolitan Police continues to fight the criminals' worlds. So again, I don't know how much he had to be honest, but still, what a fucking crazy story. And again, a very excessive, I think, sentence. 20 years for a few kilos is just fucking insane, to be fair. What does it say? Is it 52? So I think they're saying 52 kilos was the amount, which again doesn't make sense, because he had, allegedly this kid had 52 kilos and he got 20 years, but then his boy, who allegedly had 35, got 7. How's that make sense? Who knows? And then of course this guy, a white man, of course, got off fucking lightly. This white man got off fucking lightly with his sentence, with this fucking heinous crime, by the way. Jailed for life for murdering his ex-wife at his son's graveyard. It says a man was jailed for life for a minimum of 27 years for murdering his ex-wife at their son's grave on their late son's birthday. Oh my God. Martin Sutter, 68, was rebuked by the judge and his former brother-in-law for pitilessly extinguishing the life of Anne Blackwood, 71. Mr. Sutter, a Green Party member and council election candidate. Oh my, Green Party member. God almighty. What? Laid in wait for Blackwood for 5 hours at a graveyard in Stubbington, Hampshire. She didn't stand a chance. In 2023, and stabbed her 19 times. He stabbed her with a 12-inch kitchen knife and then with a pair of scissors he had brought with her to trim memorial flowers, a court heard. Sentencing Sutter, Judge Michael Bowles KC told him he had committed an act of wickedness and a dreadful crime. After being jailed for life, he told he would serve a minimum of 27 years and 230 days. He showed little emotion and smiled as he left court. Smiled, you know. What a fucking psycho. R.I.P. this lady, man. He was also sentenced for a separate matter, a previous indecent assault of a girl under 14, for which he was given a 4-month sentence. God almighty. Blackwood's brother John said in a statement at court, his wickedness is alien to us and totally beyond our comprehension. R.I.P. to Anne Blackwood, man. R.I.P. to Anne Blackwood. What a tragedy. Her life was pitilessly extinguished in such a savage way. It is something that our family will never be able to come to terms with. The family hub has been splintered in the most grotesque manner possible. I can imagine, innit? Because, you know, it's probably bad enough that the child died. I don't know how the kid died. I'd imagine deaths in family involving children definitely will break up families. Who knows? That might be the reason they got divorced in the first place. And then on top of that, the ex-husband goes and murders the wife. Like, God almighty. The court heard that the couple's son, Christopher, had died at the age of 15 in 2003. A coroner ruled that his death was accidental. The couple divorced in 2004. So yeah, see? Basically, the son's death caused the fucking divorce in the first place. Which is understandable. And then I guess maybe that resentment that he had, at least for her, carried on until to this year. Like, horrible, man. After the attack, Sutter phoned the police and blamed Blackwood for the death of his son. The judge, however, told him his loss cannot reduce his culpability in the murder of his mother. Sutter, an engineer, lived in the seaside town of Lee-on-Solent, about a mile from Blackwood, an active member of the St. Faith Church in town. The court heard he also was a yachting enthusiast. Sutter admitted the murder in court in May last year, but his case was subject to reporting restrictions. After his sentencing, Blackwood's family said, "Our family has been absolutely devastated by a tragic loss of Anne Blackwood." Yeah, R.I.P. Anne Blackwood. A loving, caring, kind-hearted mother, sister and friend who was a very popular member of her local community, loved and respected by everyone who knew her. Anne dedicated her life to helping and inspiring others throughout her successful teaching career. She had admired by her pupils and colleagues. I will be remembered as a person of beauty, grace, immeasurable fortitude. As a family, we would like to thank everyone who has remained steadfast in the pursuit of justice. D.I. Martin Longyear of Hampshire Police said, this case was understandably caused significant distress for Anne's family, and I hope that today's sentence helps them to move forward safe in the knowledge that Sutter would likely spend the rest of his life in prison. We understand the impact of the crimes like this in the wider community, and we're committed to bringing offenders like Sutter to justice. Again, I don't get it, bro. 27 years for murdering his wife at his dead son's graveyard, and this young gentleman got 20 years for a bit of coke. Sentencing in the UK makes no sense. But RIP to the victims, RIP and Blackwood. Thoughts and feelings go out to his family. Absolutely shocking state of affairs. But yeah, we're going to end it there. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Action of Zigga Show, episode number 971. It's been a pleasure to have your company as per usual. If it's the first time tuning in, you know what to do. Smash the like, hit subscribe, all that good shit. For those of you who like comedy-based content, we'll be switching over to the Random Show in about 5 to 10 minutes. So make sure you jump over to the Random Show channel. If you're watching this show live, you don't have to do anything. Just stay here and it will redirect you automatically to the Random Show channel. So you don't have to move or do anything at all. If you're watching this show live, you'll be redirected to the Random Show channel. Those of you who are listening or watching this and will just want to leave, thank you for chilling. I appreciate you so much. Of course, if you will listen to this with the audio side of the pod, you'll hear my tune of the day. My tune of the day, for those of you listening via the audio side of the pod, should be playing underneath my voice right now. It is by the one and only Sharp Pins, and it's called Be Your Girl. Actually, and because it's Monday, because it's fucking Friday, let's actually play it today, because I don't usually play this fucking songs, but let's actually play the song today because it's a Monday and we want to be a little bit fun. So the song of the day today, for those of you listening, will be Sharp Pins, Be Your Girl. Be Your Girl, I Want to Be Your Girl. Let's get this on here. Sharp Pins, Be Your Girl. That's my song of the day. Big up everybody tuning in. I appreciate you guys so much. Sharp Pins, I Want to Be Your Girl is my song of the day. Thank you for tuning in. Been a pleasure, never a chore. Random Show starting in about 5 to 10 minutes. Big up.